Hi, Dan Sussman here, and today we're going to be talking about independent and dependent clauses. So, first of all, we need to talk about what a clause is. It's a word that you've probably heard in studying English or English grammar, but you may be a little bit vague about what your instructor is talking about. Well, a clause is a group of words that has a subject and a verb, a predicate. So, examples include the boy runs. Boy's got a subject, is the subject rather. Runs is the verb. The woman cooked dinner. Woman is the subject, cooked is the verb. And the puppy is sleeping. Puppy is the subject, and sleeping, or is sleeping, if depending on how you want to look at it, is the verb. But hold on a second. You may be saying to yourself at this point, yeah, you call them clauses, but they look a lot like sentences. And you're absolutely right. There are three requirements for a sentence. A sentence has to have a subject, it has to have a verb, and it has to form, the words have to form a complete thought. And in fact, if a clause meets all of those requirements, it can stand all by itself as a sentence. It doesn't have to, but it can. And because they have the capability to stand all by themselves, we call these independent clauses. All right. Now, let's look at these. Because he likes spaghetti, well, milk spilled all over the floor, and when her friend arrived. Do they have subjects? Yes, they meet that test. All three of these clauses have subjects. Do they have verbs? Well, yes, they do. All three have verbs. Do they form complete thoughts? No, they do not. Because he likes spaghetti, you're waiting to find out more. What? Because he likes spaghetti, what? Well, milk spilled all over the floor. It suggests something happened. Well, milk spilled all over the floor, but we don't know what. They do not form complete thoughts. Clauses that do not form complete thoughts, they have a subject and a verb, but can't stand on their own as complete thoughts. We call these dependent or subordinate clauses. They depend on other words to create a full thought. So, let's take a look at some clauses and decide whether they are independent or dependent. He walked to school. Well, that one is independent. There's a subject, he, a verb. It says a very there. It should say a verb. A verb, walked, and the clause forms a complete thought. It could stand all by itself as a sentence. After the clown removed his makeup. That one is dependent. There's a subject, clown. There's a verb, removed, but the words do not make up a complete thought. You want to know what happened after the clown removed his makeup. It's a subordinate clause or a dependent clause. While my guitar gently wept. That's the name of a song by the Beatles, but it's also a clause. Guitar is the subject. Wept is the verb. Independent or dependent? Dependent. You want to know what happened while the guitar gently weeps. My dog did a trick. Independent. Dog is the subject, did is the verb, and my dog did a trick forms a complete thought. After my dog did a trick. That one is dependent. Yeah, the subject and the verb are there, but we don't have a complete thought. After my dog did a trick, what? You want to know more. How about did a trick? It's not a clause at all. It's a phrase. Oh, there's a verb, did, but there's no subject, and it's just that obviously it does not make up a complete thought. So let's summarize. A clause is a grammatical group of words that has a subject and a verb, and there are two major classes of clauses. The first type, independent clauses, can stand all by themselves as sentences because they have subjects and verbs and they form complete thoughts. Dependent clauses, on the other hand, have subjects and verbs, but they do not form a complete thought. You want to know more. Because they depend on other words, they cannot stand alone as sentences. And now you know about independent and dependent clauses.